So the drums, I always think I always approach it with a Hot Creation style track is I need a really punchy kick. That's really important. And I've mentioned it before, one of my favourite kicks is a 909 kick, just purely for this, it's got a real house vibe to it. And why I always kind of like 909s is because they've been around kind of since the birth of house music. They always work and they don't age and they don't date. And what's really important to me is making records that someone will pick up in 10, 15 years and it still sounds good. And, you know, I don't want to make a record that just sounds kind of big now. Because then, you know, in a few years, once music shifts, it'll just be forgotten about. So it's like, it's when I was younger, I didn't really care as much about that. But I think now these days that I'm just very aware that I want to make records that are timeless and that still sound good. So that's the reason I always lean towards the 909, because I feel it's got that vibe, it's got the punch, and it's, you know, I can just create the grooves and rhythms with it that I like. So let's open up a drum track here, and then what we can do is start just building things, really. So the first thing that I always start with is a kick drum. And I've kind of got my go-to kick drums. I've got a few that I use, but I really like, I've got my 909 kit here. I really like this kick too. It's got a great punch to it, so I'm just going to put that in there, drag that in, and then we've got this down here. See, there's the kick. And it's just really punchy. It's got a great sound to it, and yeah, honestly, I just love it. Like I say, it sounds great off the bat there. So what I'm going to do is just draw in. I'm just going to record in some kicks, and then we'll just. I'll take it back here and mute the vocal. Let's try that again. So then let's just quantize them. Very simple. Like I say, it's you know, these tracks don't have to be overcomplicated, and I think that's the secret. Sometimes you can just keep adding and adding and adding things, but all it comes down to is if you get a really solid groove going, especially in house and tech house, it's all you need. You know, you can just hear it on loop, and if you know you want people to lock into your groove and get lost, so that's what I'm aiming for here. So what I'm going to do is just put a little double kick at the end of the 4 there. What that does, I just put the velocity down as well, just so when it comes back round with the next kick, it'll have more impact. It's just a bit of a dynamic thing, but I do it all the time, so that's sounding cool. Get rid of that. Right, so that's very, very basic. But this is, you know, what I'm going to do is this, like I say, I call this sketching. This is what I always do is just get all the elements, get everything together, and then I can start stretching them out. What I'll do, as you'll see, as the further we kind of build it up, is I will add more and more things, and then what I'll do is mute them. So say if I mute the kick, it'll give me an idea of how I might want the breakdown and stuff like that. So when we get to arrangement, it'll be a lot easier for me. So that's sounding cool. Yeah, I think like I say, this is tried and tested for me. So let's go in now. See if I put that there. Yeah, cool. And then if we go into lane 2, I'll reopen up the drum rack, and then what I'm going to do is just put a clap in there. Let's stick with the 909s. Yeah, we've got the clap here. Let's just listen to this. So that's sounding good. Try just mess about with the pre-filter a little bit. Yeah, so all I've done there is I've just used a little bit of a low pass on there, just so it's taking a little bit of the brightness out. I'm just going to put it on the 2 and the 4 for now. I don't think it needs to be anything too complicated at the minute. I'm going to build a really basic groove, and then what we'll do is start filling it up. And what we do is just, once that's drawn in, go back in there, just get it quantized up. Okay, so what I think we should do is add like a rim shot. These were always just great. I use them in quite a lot of my house records. They've just got that Chicago-y groove to them, which I've always been a huge fan of Chicago house. So let's just try playing around with a rim. I think an 808 rim shot might be better. We'll try the 909, you never know. Yeah, I'm going to try an 808 one, just to see what that's like, because I do like the 909 rims, but I do have a real affiliation with the 808 ones. So yeah, you know, feel free to mix and match, and you know, just see what works for you. Yeah, that one. Let's just try the second one, see what that sounds. Yeah, the first one I'm going to go with. It's just got a real, I don't know, I just like that kind of Chicago-y sound. It's just, I keep saying it's Chicago, it's just what I associate it with. And then just play a little rhythm, see what you kind of vibe off. Yeah, let's record that in. Doesn't matter if you're slightly off, it's absolutely fine, because you can just quantize it up, which I'm going to do now. Yeah, it's just have fun. Remember, this is the thing with music is always have fun. You know, first and foremost, it should be an enjoyable experience. Don't take it, you know, it can be really hard, and you know, if you're really driven, you want to get somewhere, you can kind of let that overtake just the creative process. And I can't stress how important it is just to have fun with the music you're making. Don't put pressure on yourself. Some things you'll do at all levels, you know, if you're starting level, if you're at kind of our level, even if you go right up to the top, you know, if you're Quincy Jones level or Calvin Harris level, we all just trial and error. Some things will work, some things won't, but that's the beauty of the creative process. So that's just a cool little groove, I think. I think that'll work. You see, I might not even bring that in all the time. It might come in and out in the track, but I just want to keep adding layers. Yeah, I do think it sounds better there. It's nice with a little bit of reverb on. Yeah, I think that's going to work. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, nice. So yeah, we just keep going. I think what I'll do now is just add like a little tight hat. Maybe on the 16th, I think a 606 hat's really nice because it's really tight. I'm going to stick to the kind of drum machine sounds of the Rolands. As mentioned before, they're tried and tested. I really like them. What I think I will do is use a closed cymbal. A closed hat, sorry. So hat closed here. Let's try this. There's not a lot in those. Let's try this. Yeah, okay. What I'm going to do is go back to the first one. Cool. And then let's just shorten it. What I kind of want to do with that is I want to make it sound a little bit like a shaker and put it on a 16th. I'm going to draw that in on a 16th. Let's just see how that sounds. Yeah, it's just one of those things that's kind of... I really like 16ths because they kind of keep the groove and the rhythm going. And what we'll do is play around with the velocity on them, which they're kind of doing there anyway. You can see that the velocity is going up and down. I'm going to bring this back to the start of the loop. Cool. And yeah, I just want them on the 16th. Take that one down because that was jumping out a bit too much. Get rid of that one. And then what I'll do is loop that up. So that's going to stay in quite a lot. As you can see, there's not a lot of processing on this. Right. So as you can hear, that's kind of just adding a nice little rhythm to it. I'm going to just mute off that rim shot for now. Add a little bit of reverb. What that does is it just gives it a tiny little bit of shimmer, a little bit, like I say, I do want it to be drum machine sounding, but I also like the idea of having like a shaker type effect. See, I could tease that rim shot in like that. You know what I was saying, how I just kind of mute things in and out. Yeah, so that's, you know, we've got a solid little groove there. I'm just going to get that rim shot out. But like I say, just have fun with it, man. Right, so actually what I'm going to do is I am just going to put that on every other one. Because what that might do is actually create space in the track later on, between the rim shot and the vocal or the synth, and we could do a call and response. So this is, you know, I have no idea how this track's going to end up sounding. But we're going to have a good go, and I think, you know, I kind of know the ingredients I want to put into the pot to make it, so hopefully it'll work. Yeah, that works better. So what I think now is, let's put some maybe some claves and maybe some little snares, just a little skippy snare in there. A little bit like what Todd Terry used to do, what I was saying before, how I got inspired by Todd Terry and his 90s sound design records. So I'll just go back into my sample pack here. I think I'll go back in to the 909. They've always got great snares. Might be a bit too harsh though, so I might use them on a breakdown for a build up, the 909 snares. Yeah, let's try this on the 808. That might work. That sounds quite cool. It wasn't what I was looking for. I think I like that one, you know. It's what I was saying before about call and response. So that's now working. Even though that doesn't really sound like a snare to me, I think that works as a call and response. Sounds a little bit like a conga, but... just play that rhythm in. I think, you see, it's just nice to do a call and response with things because it just kind of creates a bit more groove and it's not the same sound over and over. You can really have fun. You can do the beauty of call and response is where one thing plays and then another sound plays answering it, so they're kind of talking to each other. I do that in a lot of my music because I just find that it kind of just keeps the groove moving from side to side. So that's definitely something to bear in mind. Right, do you know what? I like the rhythm of that. I'm just going to go through some different sounds. Well, there you go. That sounds pretty cool. Right, so we're not going to go for a snare. We're going to go for a low tom. An 808 tom. So I definitely think there's something there. So you could even do something cool with the tuning like that. That might be a section, you know? So... yeah, I like that there, I think. Turn it up a little bit. And if you'd like to watch the rest of this video, please go to www.theravenstudios.com.